Hello Stampin' friends, this is Kelly Acheson coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. I am super excited today to show you this beautiful creation. My friend and downline Sarah Simon sent me this card, and I always love getting cards from Sarah. She's an amazing stamper. I told her I had to use this for my Technique Tuesday, and my ladies loved it. So we have a card that has a double open on it. It opens this way and it opens this way. Isn't that pretty? I absolutely love it. I made this as a Mother's Day card, but it could be made as any type of a card. Sarah actually made it as a get well card for me. So isn't that wonderful? It's beautiful. This has some really neat elements in it. We are going to emboss by hand the flower that's on here with cardstock vellum, and we're also going to add some wink of Stella to it to make it shimmer. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it's really stunning. So let's get started. I've got a piece of very vanilla here, and this is 7.5 by 5, and then I just folded it in half. I'm going to bring in my piercing mat here because I like to stamp on those. And I've got Mint Macaron ink. I'm using the You've Got This stamp set. You get both of these cases with this set. I love this set. It's good for so many things. And as you can see, this is kind of a get well and if you've got this and good things are going to happen, I'm here for you kind of stamp set. And I love this background. But it can also be used with other greetings for anything, like the Mother's Day card that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to grab this big grid stamp and I'm going to ink it up with my Mint Macaron. The one thing you need to watch on this card is that, oh there, I just got a smudge on it, is that the card goes inside this other card. So you're going to stamp on it backwards, meaning you're going to stamp on what would normally be the back of your card instead of the front. So since I smudged that, I'm going to turn mine over and try this side. And you're just going to stamp this right in the middle of your card. And that looks really good. And then we're going to use Stays-On ink. We're using Stays-On ink because we're going to stamp on vellum in just a couple minutes. And the Stays-On will dry on the vellum. Vellum is a non-porous surface. Your other inks will not dry on that surface, so you do need a Stays-On. I'm going to stamp this right in the middle. That looks great. And you can see that the center of my flower isn't really stamped real bold. The image isn't real great. I must not have got the ink on it or pushed on it hard enough. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover that up. So here's just a scrap of vellum. And I just need to stamp the flower on here. And that turned out great. Don't forget to close your Stays-On up. You can't leave it sitting open on your table. It's a very fast drying ink and it will dry up before you get to your next step. So now I'm going to bring in another piercing mat and I am going to turn my flower over to the back and use the big end of my stylus for my Simply Scored tool. Any stylus will work. You just want to make sure that it has kind of a bigger ball on the end of it. And you are going to just outline your petals and you're pushing too. And do you see how that vellum is turning white like that? It's actually raising it on the other side. You can feel it that it's raised, and that's what gives you that neat look. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and I'm going to fill in this flower. It really does go quite fast. You don't have to color in the lines, so you don't have to get too crazy about it. And I'll be back in just a second. Okay, now that I have this all colored in, you'll notice that if you color it hard enough, it's all going to turn white. And that's important because we're going to use dimensionals to attach it to our card front. And the whiter your vellum is, the less likely you are to see those. Be careful that you don't push too hard or it will poke through the paper, but isn't that pretty? I just love this look, and it's all raised. It's like you embossed it in an embossing folder. It's pretty neat. Okay, I'm gonna take my paper snips here, and you're just gonna cut this flower out. And this, for those of you that don't like to cut stuff, this is really a pretty easy flower to cut out. So again, I'm not gonna make you watch me cut out this flower. I'll be back in just a couple seconds. Now I'm gonna bring in my Wink of Stella Glimmer pen, and I'm going to color my flower to give it that beautiful glimmer. And I know this is hard to see on the camera, but can you see how that's got that glimmer? It's just so pretty. So you think you always have to color flowers a certain color. Actually, you can leave them white, and you can just put this on there, and it is stunning. Okay, I'm going to tip it in the light. I think I've got it all glitzed up. The next thing we need to do is we need to take our Mint Macaron layer. We are going to die cut an oval out of the front of our card. So make sure you open it up. And we're going to run this through our Big Shot on the magnetic platform so it'll stay in place. I will be right back. And here's our card front. I've got that oval cut out. You can save this and use it for layering on something else. Now we're going to take our vanilla piece, and you can stamp a greeting in it if you would like. The greeting that I have is, "You are such a blessing in my life." This is from a stamp set that's called something about blessings, but I can't remember right now, so I'll type it on the screen when I get my video done. We're going to put some glue on the back. Remember, less is more here. We're going to center this right inside our card. That looks great. And I've also got a black layer for the back. The Mint Macaron layer is 5 1/4 by 8. This layer is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Doesn't that just really make it pop? I love black. Black is a great accent. And then I have two small pieces here. This one is 4 by 1 inch. This one is 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches. This is where I'm going to stamp my Mother's Day greeting. And I used the And Many More stamp set. This has a ton of greetings in it. It's got Best Dad Ever, so it'll work for Father's Day. It's got an Easter hippity hop. But then it's got Best Mother Ever, and that's the one I'm going to use. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle. Remember, if you get it crooked, you've always got the other side too, but it looks like I did pretty good. We're going to adhere this layer to our black layer, and mine goes all the way up to the edges. And then this is going to go over where your oval opening is. You want to kind of put it all the way to the bottom of that opening. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the outsides here. You don't want to get glue here because you're going to see it there. So don't forget that, because sometimes I forget those little details and then I put my card together and I have a big mess. It happens. All right, now for our flower. We are going to use tiny little pieces of dimensionals. And I'm going to put those on the back of my flower. And I'm just going to put a few. You don't need a ton. This isn't, you know, you don't need it to hold up some weight or anything like that. I'm just going to put it a few little pieces around the outside of my flower. That should be good. I've got 4 little pieces on here. And you're going to glue this right over the flower that you stamped. And you can see those dimensionals through there just a little bit, but it's not enough to draw attention for people to go, wow, what's under that flower? So don't worry about that. That looks absolutely stunning. Last but not least, I wanted one more little element. I've got some of these white perfect accents. And although I don't think that'll work real great, I do think that if we take a Sharpie marker and color one of these black, that'll work perfect on my card. Sharpies dry really fast. You can't use regular markers because they won't dry on a non-porous surface. I'm gonna just let that dry just a touch. You can blow on it a little bit, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to attach this to my card front. Put that right there. Last but not least, gotta have a little ribbon, right? I'm gonna take the Mint Macaron ribbon and I'm just gonna tie it in a single knot right here. And that also just adds that little bit more of elegance. And there we have it. Isn't that pretty? What a very, very pretty card. So you can whip this up in a jiffy. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be happy to earn your business. We have a brand new catalog coming out at the end of the month, and it is filled with beautiful new projects, embellishments, stamp sets, paper, you name it. Pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com. I'd be happy to send you a catalog. You can also find all the dimensions and ingredients for this card on my blog, which is astampabove.com. Add a little sparkle to someone's day. Send them a card.